What is going on, friends and family? It is Guy with Beard, Guns and Gear. Got back from the range today, so I'm hydrating. It was really hot out there today, but anyway, so hydrating. And there's been a couple of requests about this, and also just questions on talking to certain people, even people that are involved with the shooting sport, hunters. So it seems like, go figure, some government legislation may be difficult to wade through and not made for the common man to understand. There's a reason for that. It's made to confuse you. It's made to be not understood easily, so that you can be found in breaking the law, basically, when you're not really trying to. So I'm going to try and lay this down as easy as possible. Layman's terms. I got a bunch of examples. You can probably see the fringe here, the edges of the table of goodness. So in Canada currently there are 3 categories, but I don't think they're categories that make much sense. And I'm going to talk about Canadian gun law, and probably some of you guys and my American viewers out there, they can probably associate with the way that it's termed there. I would prefer sometimes to use some of the terms that are thrown around in the US vice what we have here in Canada. So what do we have? We have prohibited. What does prohibited mean? You cannot buy, you cannot own, you cannot transfer, you cannot sell unless there is a caveat, either attached to your possession and acquisition license. For instance, before a new change of laws came through, you already owned a firearm that was going to, I'll use the example of a pistol with a short barrel. Back in the day, you could buy pistols with short barrels. The law changed. They said, nope, those are no good. Or how about a 25 caliber or 32? Also, you could have owned those way back in the day. The law changed because they said, well, 25 and 32s are typically used with snub nose. That's a very popular amongst criminals. So we're going to outlaw those 2 calibers and outlaw short pistols, make them prohibited, basically, so you can't purchase, trade, whatever. But if you already own those, they would put a caveat on your grandfather, you basically, on your PAL or RPAL, restricted PAL, possession acquisition license, that would allow you to continue to own, use, and you could even still purchase some of those firearms. So, we're going to go through prohibited, restricted, and non-restricted or unrestricted. And I will throw a 4th category in there, and I'll say rimfire. So that would be your 22 Magnum, and 17 HMR. Those are all rimfire cartridges and rimfire rifles.
They put you in jail
use those cartridges
right away.
If it's okay, so we'll start with prohibited. Do I have anything that's prohibited? I never bought anything that was prohibited, but I have something that is now prohibited. So we'll start with that guy. Okay, you guys have seen this before. It's a SIG M400 standard AR-15 firearm. Excellent firearm, works like a champ. In May of 2020, the government basically issued an OIC. It's an order of council. They went out in Canada and said these things are so dangerous that it's a matter of public safety. We cannot go through the proper channels. We can't go through Parliament. We can't get people to vote on this. We have to protect people from these violent, dangerous, killing machine firearms. So, as of May 2020, this firearm has stayed in my safe. It's not allowed to come out. It cannot go to the gunsmith. I cannot sell it. I cannot trade it. I can't do anything with it. It stays in the safe. I can't take it to the range to shoot. I can't do anything with it. Okay, so it's basically a paperweight. The government said that it would at some point compensate people a buyback. Instead of grandfathering, they're looking at a buyback, and like I said, if it's not a voluntary buyback, then it's a seizure. So they're either going to buy them back from people that do agree, or they're going to seize them from people that don't agree. I mean, you guys, you're going to fill up my comments. I know you are, and I love you for doing it, but you're going to fill up my comments and saying, you know, the AR-15 is not dangerous. It's the person using it. You're preaching to the choir. I absolutely agree with you. There's nothing that makes this firearm more dangerous. You're going to hear all the misinformation about rounds tumbling and it shreds and it does this. It's all bull crap. There's not a rifle out there that's designed to have a non-stable tumbling round. I know this. You guys know this. So again, frustrating because I love shooting this firearm. So that will bring me into the next category, restricted. What is restricted? This used to be a restricted firearm. Okay, so Canada said, we're not going to outlaw them right away. We're going to make them restricted. So what does restricted mean? The government knows about every firearm that is restricted. The chief firearms officer here in Canada is the one who basically approves your privilege of traveling with these firearms to wherever you bring them, whether it be the gunsmith, the range, you name it. Okay, so you have a paper that is issued for each restricted firearm, and it has serial number on it, and your name, where you're going to and from. So hey beard guy, what if I'm driving with my trunk load of restricted firearms and I'm going to the range and I kind of decide I'd like to stop in and visit a friend for a while and I just leave the car out there, but it's no problem. The restricted firearms are locked in the trunk. Can I do that? No. If you're found to be doing that, you know where you're going to be going?
They put you in jail.
Yeah.
Right away.
So, there it is. And I'm just going to kind of talk about them and then put them off to the side. Restricted firearms. That's a little bit trickier. Okay, so all handguns are restricted. It doesn't matter the caliber, other than 25 and 32 and short barrel. So it has to be over 4 1/4 inches to fall in the restricted handgun category. So I got a couple of examples here. This is Ruger Wrangler. All these firearms have been verified already, by the way. They are safe. They can be safely handled indoors even. What do you know? So this is a 22 Ruger Wrangler, 22 caliber, single action only. Okay, this is restricted because it's a pistol. So what do I need in order to own one of these? Let's go back to 2020. Can I still buy these? Yes. All right. What do I need? I need to do the RPAL. So you do the RPAL, they're going to go over restricted firearms, namely pistols. You do the course, you go to a shop, you present your newly acquired RPAL, possession and acquisition, the restricted category. You purchase a firearm and you wait until the CFO, Chief Firearms Officer, whatever province you're in, or if you're in a province that's not specific like Quebec, I happen to be in, that happens to be a guy from the Sûreté, but if you are in, let's say, New Brunswick, it's going to be the RCMP. They're going to look over your file, they're going to check in the CPIC, they're going to make sure everything's a go, and then they will notify the company where you bought the firearm, or where you did buy the firearm, that you can go pick it up. And they're going to issue an authority to transport to go pick it up from the store and bring it back to your house, where it goes into a safe and it stays there until you are a member of a range. When you're a member of a range, then you can shoot a pistol. So what happens? I really like shooting the pistol. I want to go out to the gravel pit.
They put you in jail. Right away.
You know what's going to happen. You cannot shoot these at a gravel pit. It's only at a recognized range. So, is that the only pistol that you have, beard guy? No, it's not. Semi-automatic. This is your standard Glock 17 Gen 3, all kinds of sexiness. If you haven't seen the upgrade video on this, I would go check it out. It's cool. Anyway, it's a Gen 3, fantastic firearm, semi-automatic, and again, it fits in the restricted category, okay? This is on a piece of paper. I've got an ATT. I can go shoot it at the range that I belong to. That's the only place. When I took it to the gunsmith to get the work done on it, I had to have an ATT. So it's cool because you get to shoot 10-round magazines. So it doesn't matter what a magazine looks like. Centerfire pistol is going to be capped at 10 rounds. But hey, beard guy, I see these videos and they have these cool 33 round or the drum mags for the Glock. Can I get one of those? No, you can't. Because you know why?
They put you in jail. Right away.
So, 10 rounds, max, absolute max. Doesn't matter what it looks like, it's only going to take 10 rounds or less. In the revolver's case, less, right? All right. So that's restricted. What's available unrestricted? Man, there is a lot of cool things. So let's talk about your application for unrestricted. If you're a guy, you just want to go to the range and plink. You know what my thoughts are on a 22 caliber. I love 22 calibers. You don't have to get grandpa's wood. We're kind of going to the rimfire now, which is the other category as far as I'm concerned. Yes, this is unrestricted, but this is rimfire, and I'm going to talk to you about the differences, what you can have with rimfire. So this is the Daria TM22. This belongs to my youngest son. Fantastic little firearm. It's totally metal, which is, I think, what the TM stands for. He's got a little Vortex spark on the top, red dot, perfect for a 22, right? If you're just plinking, you want to do plinking 25 meters, plinking 50 meters, whatever. If you want to get into a long range competition, you get a nice bolt, you get a Ruger 1022. Doesn't have to be a wood stock. It's going to be in the unrestricted. And how does it fit into unrestricted? What if I took a hacksaw and cut the barrel down? What's going to happen then?
They put you in jail right
You know
away.
where you're going. Okay, you cannot modify a firearm to make it shorter so it looks cooler. You can't do it. Okay, overall length has to be either barrel length of 18.5 inches or, and that is, let me check my notes because I'm not very good with the metrics, 470 millimeters for the barrel length to be non-restricted, or an overall length of 660 millimeters or 26 inches. So it's like, well, you know what? When I extend this, let's say I got a short barrel now, this long. When I extend this, it's 26 inches long. Is that unrestricted? Can I go to the gravel pit and shoot? No. You know where you're going. If you get caught doing that, you know where you're going. You cannot, unmodified, it has got to have, if it's collapsible stock, it's got to have an overall length of more than 26 inches or 660 millimeters. But I mean, you can still get some pretty cool firearms that fire into the unrestricted category. Pimp it out. The sky is the limit. So what can you do with an unrestricted? You don't have to go to a range to shoot it. That's kind of cool. You have to be a certain distance away from a constructed road. Check your local regulations for that. But the farther the better, obviously, because you know that the way it is now, if you go out in the country and you start shooting in somebody's gravel pit, or you get permission to go shoot in somebody's gravel pit, nobody's going to say anything. If you're close enough to a city, but you're still within the safety regulations, and you start shooting this, somebody is going to call the cops because they're going to say that you're shooting a machine gun. They're going to look out and they're going to say, that guy has a machine gun. So you're going to get a very unpleasant visit from the police, because here's my experience. I love the law enforcement. I love our law enforcement agencies. Put their lives on the line all the time, going out and doing the things, dealing with the bad people out there so that we don't have to. But they are not firearms experts. The majority of them are not firearms experts. So the best bet is to stay clear of them if you're going out shooting. Or use the opportunity to educate them a little bit. Okay. So, oh, and the nice thing about rimfire, remember how I said before that if it is, okay, well, I'll talk about this right now. Semi-automatic, you are limited to 5 rounds. If it's center fire, semi-automatic, you are limited to 5-round magazines. Unless, and this is where the bureaucracy and the way that the laws are written is a little bit difficult to understand. Unless there is a pistol that is in existence, that is the same platform, that has a magazine that will fit your rifle, that is at 10 rounds, you can use the 10-round magazine. And it doesn't make anything about an unrestricted rifle restricted or prohibited. Okay, it's not, you put a magazine into a firearm, it doesn't change the designation of a firearm. But if the magazine is a prohibited device, we'll call that. Let's say I get in a time machine, I go back and I buy an AR mag that's not capped at 5 rounds. Okay, so can I shoot that nowadays, even in a WK-180, which looks like an AR-15, it's an AR-18 platform, but it fits, right? Can I shoot that 30 rounds? No. You know where you're going. So, they have to be capped at 5 rounds. That is a overcapacity magazine, and you know where you're going if you're in possession of that. But again, the nice thing about rimfire is no magazine capacity. So you want to shoot a 25 round magazine rimfire out of that TM22 that I just showed you, there it is. Okay, even the magazine is metal, so it's very solid, and it runs really well. I've shot it. In fact, I think for the GSG 16, you can buy a 110 round drum magazine. So there is no limit yet. Okay, no limit yet. So, Beard Guy, what if I just want to go hunting? I want to go shoot a deer. No problem. Yeah. This, and I brought this out specifically because of the barrel length. That is a 16-inch barrel. Okay, but this is an unrestricted firearm. It's an unrestricted firearm because the overall length is more than 26 inches. There's no collapsible buttstock on it, so there's nothing I have to worry about there. So as long as from here to there is more than 26 inches, it's unrestricted. This is a bolt action. I could have a 10 round magazine for it, if I could find it. This takes the Mini 30 mags though. So it's very difficult to find. And that's the only one that it came with. So this is a 7.62 by 39. You've probably seen me shoot this. If you haven't, go check out that video. This is a fantastic firearm. Love this firearm. Quickly becoming one of my favorite firearms to shoot. My son, who is behind the camera, he loves shooting it. His girlfriend loves shooting it. Everybody loves shooting it. It's just fun. All right, so this is a typical hunting setup. This is what I'm using this for, is deer hunting. Okay, nice little bush gun. Okay, extremely accurate, probably about a 1 MOA. Is there anything that I can do to this that would make it prohibited? Well, no, I can't change the destination, as I already said, of the firearm, but I can have a prohibited device. So you'll notice that this thing is threaded on the end. And it is begging for a suppressor. Okay, but our current government thinks that a suppressor is going to turn us all into assassins. So no suppressors in Canada. Not even, what I would like to see is them have that as a restricted device. So you could get a license or a caveat on your RPAL to buy a suppressor, and you could only use it at the range. So we would get rid of a lot of the noise and complaints that we have around a lot of the shooting ranges, and maybe keep our ranges open for a little bit longer. That's what I'd like to see. But no, in Canada, you can't have that. It's prohibited. You can't make one. I can't go take an oil filter and screw it on there and pretend it's one. I can't do anything like that. You know where you're going to go if you get caught with one of those. So, don't do it. But you can get a 10 round magazine for this, if you can find one. What happened when the Mini 14s, they went from unrestricted to prohibited back in May of 2020. They were on the list, the same list as the AR-15 went to. So they all of a sudden overnight went prohibited. So anybody that owned those went out and bought every single Mini 14 magazine that they could find because they knew that it weren't going to be around for very long. That's why. So what if I want to go duck, bird, goose, hunting, whatever? Well, you can go get Grandpa's old double barrel that's sitting in his woodshed and clean it up and go shoot yourself some ducks and geeses. Or, however, because of environment safety laws, now all shot that you shoot over water, so anything you're shooting over water for ducks, geese, blah, 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 you got to use lead-free shot. So you're looking at steel shot. I would not shoot steel shot out of this barrel unless I took it to a gunsmith and said, can I do this? All right, but this is cool. But now, let's get into that domain where people say, but Beard Guy, like, I kind of want something for home protection. Okay, so if you come, first of all, that's a touchy one, and I don't know if I want to get into it in this video for that, because it has been used as self-defense, pistols, rifles, you name it, but you're always charged. You're going to be charged with unsafe storage of a firearm, unlawful discharge of a firearm within city limits, and whatever else, and probably manslaughter at the very least. I mean, or assault if you just wing them or injure them, or if you discharge firearm, it would not with the intent to. Anyway, you're going to be involved for a long time with lawyers and whatnot. So, no, you can hunt pheasant, partridge, rabbit, whatever with this, but I would not hunt duck and geese with this anymore. You'd have to get a more modern shotgun that will take steel shot. Ballistics are a little bit different, and and I get it. We're doing the thing we can now for the environment. We're definitely trying to do that. So, but you know what though, like. The thing about this thing is, I mean, it was cool. It was cool back in the day. But with modern shotguns, there's so many cool ones out there right now. And I have a couple of them. There's semis. There's even ones that are, if you like the black shotguns that have pistol grips, semi-automatic. If you're hunting, you're restricted to capacity. If you're not hunting and you're just out target shooting, you can put as many shells as you can fit into a magazine with a shotgun. With the 22 rimfire. You cannot do that with a centerfire semi-automatic, and you check your local hunting regulations, but a lot of times there's a restriction as far as how many shells you can put into even a bolt action for hunting to give a fair sporting chance. So check your local regulations about that. So, but beard guy, like this thing is so long and gangly. What if I chopped it down?
They put you in jail right
Can't
away.
do that. You know where you're going. You can't. You cannot modify any rifle, shotgun, center fire, pistol, whatever to make it shorter than it was originally designed. So don't do it. Don't do it. Well, that doesn't make any sense, right? Well, yeah, it does make sense. But. What about this guy? Does that mean that's prohibited? That's got a short barrel. No, it's not, because this is how it came from the factory. This is the way it is. And the overall length is more than 26 inches. So for those of you who are following along and were able to say that as soon as I picked it up, you're like, no, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. This is called the Backpacker. It's like CIL puts these out. It's a little 410. Really cool little firearm. If you haven't seen the video of shooting this, you should check it out. It kind of gives a little pop for how small it is, but it's really cool. But you can get a short shotgun. It just has to be made that way. You can't make it that way because you know where you'll go. All right. So does that mean I have to buy like all boring wooden stock grandpa guns? No, that's not the case. There's some really cool firearms coming out, and like really cool firearms being put out by, God bless them, Canadian companies. I know there's a ton of these on the market. There's a whole bunch of them. This one happens to be a Kodiak. I picked this up the other day. Actually got it in a draw again. Lucky me. This is a 9mm carbine. Excellent firearm. Can you hunt with it? Yeah, you can hunt with it. You can even buy hollow point rounds that are gonna let you hunt with it. Would I hunt with it? Large game. I mean, you're not going to shoot 200 meters with this thing. Even with an 18-inch barrel, you're not shooting 200 meters with this thing. So I would not hunt with it. This is for fun. This is for plinking. Maybe I'd go like bust up on some coyotes or something if I knew they were camped out in the woods or something. Something like that. But it's going to be boring, beard guy, because I can only put 5 rounds in it. But no, you can't. You can put 10 rounds in it. Do you know why? Because it happens to take Glock mags. So you got a 10 round Glock mag, you got a 10 round 9mm pistol mag in a carbine rifle. And I mean, look how cool that thing is. This thing is as close to an AR-15. I don't even like saying that because check your 6 before you say that. This thing, the look-wise, the aesthetic, the function, all the controls are there. If you guys have shot AR-15s, you'll be really happy about where everything is. The magazine release, it's a bit of a paddle. It's not exactly the same, but it's cool. It's got the action lock and like the overhand cocking. I mean, come on. If you want an AR-15 but you can't have one and you'd be all right with shooting 9mm plinking away, this is the thing to get. So there's cool options out there. Unrestricted. It's unrestricted. So what do you need? I need my unrestricted PAL, and I need enough money. These things are not cheap. This one here is going for $1,350. There's Just Right carbines that is about the same price. There's some cheaper ones. High Point, for instance, sells it. Ruger sells a carbine. Ruger firearms, you know how I feel about those. They're all decent. I would steer away from the High Point. I have not seen anything good about it. But if you're spending over $1,000 on a carbine, this is sexy and fun and no kick. So if you're introducing a small, inexperienced shooter to, you know, maybe a little bit of sports shooting, or you want to run some drills or whatever, fantastic firearm. So that's it. Like, you know, with an RPAL, I was going to say with an RPAL, you're going to own anything now, but you can't. You can't anymore because October the 21st, and this will be my last point on that, but October the 21st, 2022, the current government put out a freeze on the purchase, importation, exportation, sale, transfer of firearms. Of handguns, sorry. But so what they're going to do is, with the plan that they were going to introduce legislation, get it passed through Parliament that would ban handguns, the sale of in Canada, because criminals use handguns to commit crimes. And if there's handguns in Canada, even if they're by legal firearm owners, the criminals are somehow going to get their hands on that, even though we're told exactly how we have to store them and where we can transport them and when we can use them. That's how they get rid of crime in Canada, is they stop legal gun owners from purchasing firearms. So what happened as of October the 21st, 2022, any handgun that was in Canada already, my revolver is in there. My revolver is down in that pile somewhere. Yeah. Any handgun that was still in Canada could be sold. Okay, so this one I already owned. This one I did not. And I did want a 22, I wanted actually a Glock 44, but it's 22 caliber handgun, but I couldn't find one, not enough time. So I went on, like the rest of the Canadians, we went on a panic buy, and we said, holy crap, I need to find as many pistols as I can. I was on a limited budget because Mrs. Beard doesn't like me spending money on firearms. She takes all the fun out of it. I'm only saying that because she's sitting over on the couch and I know she can hear me because she's rolling her eyes at me right now. But that's all right. So, any firearms that were already in Canada, we could purchase them, transfer them. But at a certain point, that's it. Once those firearms are sold out, the store stock shelves are empty, they're gone. They're not going to import any more handguns. But again, it's temporary. It's a temporary freeze. They're supposed to introduce legislation that is going to put a permanent ban on that. Will that ever happen? I don't know. I'm as much in limbo about that as you guys are. We have no idea what is going on with the handgun freeze. I just know that even if my son went out and got his RPAL tomorrow, he cannot buy a firearm. I can't transfer him a firearm. I can't sell him one. I can't give him one. Nothing. And then the same is kind of going on with this guy, the AR, which is prohibited. I can't do anything with it. It just has to sit there until the government tells me what is the next step. I got a letter from the RCMP saying I was in possession of a prohibited weapon, but that was it. Okay, in front of me right here, 3 categories of firearms that I just talked about. I've got, let's start from the least restrictive now. So we have unrestricted, non-restricted. This is a 9mm carbine. All I need is to pass my course, get a PAL, Possession Acquisition License, and I can go buy one of these and I can go shoot in a gravel pit. Again, Make sure you're within your local rules, laws, legislation. Gravel pit, I can shoot. I can use Glock mags. You can buy Glock mags even if you don't have a restricted permit. This is a device. It is not part of a firearm. If you want to know what defines a firearm, then you should go check out the definition in the Firearms Act. And then we go over to restricted. Also cool. Have to go to a range. Have to have a paper to transport them back and forth. Really cool. Can't buy them anymore. Can't sell them anymore. Can't do anything with them anymore. Besides, like, hold on to the ones I have and shoot them whenever I get a chance. And now we're over into prohibited. Can't buy, can't sell, can't transfer, can't give, can't shoot, can't move with it. Can't, it's, you know, like, it's a paperweight, basically. I can't do anything with it. And if I go to the gravel pit and try and do it on the DL, you know what's happening.
They put you in jail right away.
There it is, guys. I mean, you could still own some cool stuff. I'm really impressed with how much I love that Ruger Rancher. I mean, I mean, you guys have seen me talk about this already because I'm just so shocked. It's so cheap and it's so fun. Go get one of these. Go get one of these in a 7.62 by 39 or even a 5.56 and you can get the AR mag and you can shoot 10 rounds. 5.56 is super cheap and Ruger makes a hell of a firearm. I'm all in about that. I'm sold. Like, it's so funny too because you look at it and it's like, it's kind of sort of a floating barrel. Like, it has no business being this accurate. I've said 100 times, 105 times. No business being that accurate. Go get Grandpa's shotgun. You know, like, go partridge hunting or something, or like shoot clays with it or something. You're allowed to do that, and you don't have to be in a range. So it's pretty easy to find a field or whatever. I mean, the most enjoyable firearm, I'm gonna say, is this fella right here. The fourth category, as I identified at the very beginning of the video, which is rimfire. No magazine capacity, cheap ammo. Well, I mean, there's no such thing as cheap ammo anymore, but very, very non-expensive ammo. You can get like 525 rounds for like $30. So 525 rounds, if you're loading with your thumb, that is a good day of planking. You want to shoot some expired watermelons, you know, some cantaloupes in a safe area, safe direction, whatever, safely away from other houses, not in a built-up area. Get one of these. Get two of these. Get like as many as you can of these. They're really fun, amazing little firearms. And like I said, no kick, a great way to introduce somebody who's interested in shooting to that sport. You want to try precision? There's all kinds of, like Project Maple Seed. There's 22 rimfire, long distance precision shooting, and just precision shooting for like groupings. It's pretty impressive, and it transfers. So you want to get good at, and you've got like, I don't know, a 338 Lapua that you're going to enter match competitions with. Well, that's like $7 a round. So get really good with a 22. You start getting that clover leaf on a 5-round grouping, and when you shoot that 338, all you have to do is manage the recoil, and you're going to have the same results. There it is, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. This is like eye candy. This is some of the firearms that I have. Most of them, unfortunately, fell off a canoe into the lake. But this is some fun stuff. And I mean, my son loves shooting these firearms. He's been around them forever. I think one of his favorite firearms to shoot, if I'm not incorrect, is this one. Is it not? Yes. Yeah, so all day. Anyway, there it is, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I know if you have any other questions, I love doing these kind of videos. It's nice to get that interest, and you know, kudos to my American buddies out there. You guys are like full of questions, and I love it because you're trying to slog through what our laws are, and us Canadians are having a hard job of slogging through what the laws are. But try to lay it out as much as I can. It is what it is. It is what it is until it changes. So be good guys. Don't go to, you know, shoot enjoy the sport, get into hunting, do whatever you can, enjoy these things, take care of them. They'll be around forever. And I know that when I pass these down to my kids, they're going to be like overjoyed, with the exception of this guy, I guess, in the middle, because I don't know, he'll be like made into razors or something. Who knows? All right, again, I am the guy with beard, guns, and gear. I hope that satisfies most of the questions. I love doing this video. I think it was good, and it gets me to think about as well, like what exactly I can do and what exactly I can have. And there's still some good choices. It's not all doom and gloom, but grab them before it is. All right, have a good night, have a good weekend, have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
They put you in jail right away.